Hello everybody, Matthew Armstrong here, and this is day 30 of this transformation program from mediocrity to mastery. And if you're wondering where day 29 is, it's floating about somewhere in the virtual reality of YouTube. It's strange, it just didn't appear up on my channel, but I did actually find it somewhere, but for some reason it's just kind of floating in limbo. And it's not going into the channel for some reason. It's strange. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like a glitch in the matrix or something. But yeah, I put a link below day 28 to day 29. But again, for some reason, it's not appearing on the channel. It's not appearing in my video manager and my sort of back area of YouTube. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. So make sure you go and watch that anyway, because that's an important one. So day 30, we are a third of the way there to our 90 days. I'm getting a huge transformation from this program so far, and I guess if you're following it, you know, if you're watching every single one of these and you're participating in the exercises, then you are as well. If you're not, then you're not. Yeah. And what I find is something I've got on a deeper level from studying the work of Dr. John Demartini is less judgment, is having less judgment. And what I mean by judgment is perceiving things as either being good or bad. Many people don't understand what judgment is, right? But judgment is a perception of something being either bad or good. Not just bad, but good as well, right? So if we have this idea that things are either good or bad, then we're always oscillating. Always going backwards and forwards. This is good. I feel good. This is bad. I feel bad. So we're at the effect of just everything outside of ourselves. We're bouncing through life like a ping pong ball, right? So the power of this understanding, this philosophy, this technology is that we balance our perceptions for the good and the bad, and then there's no judgment, right? We don't judge ourselves anymore, and we don't judge other people. Everything suddenly becomes equal, right? And that's a great thing. So we're no longer up on our pedestal looking down at others, or we're no longer in our pit looking up at others on their pedestal that we put them on, right? And instead, as we said before, we put everyone in our heart, and once we balance all our perceptions, that's where we come to. We come to a place in the heart, right? So we're not getting taken away by frivolous emotions that just kind of send us up and down or whatever. We stay centered. We stay centered, and you know, that is the path of mastery is to stay centered on your path, right? Things will try and throw you off left and right. You come back to center and focus on your path. And that's a great thing. It's a great thing to release the judgment, right? So whenever we see something that we perceive to be bad, whether it's an event, whether it's another person, then it is wise to balance that out by looking for all the opposite aspects, all the good aspects. Then we have a balance of each person. If we become too infatuated with somebody and think they're so great, find that balance as well, right? Realize that we are equal to them. I catch myself doing it sometimes. Even the other day, I caught myself being judgmental of somebody, and then afterwards I reflected on it and thought, I don't know why I dropped my guard there, but it's again it's a good lesson for me to balance that out, right? So look to balance your perceptions by not putting others up on a pedestal, putting them in a pit, or yourself either. You know, don't over-aggrandize yourself. or at the same time, don't minimize yourself either, right? Well, once we can move through the world, seeing everyone as equal, then we'll be incredibly powerful. There's more power in seeing others as equal than there is in over-aggrandizing ourselves and minimizing others, right? Much more power than that. Because once we over-aggrandize ourselves, the rug will be taken out of our feet, from under our feet, and we'll have a hard fall. Yeah. If we minimize ourselves so much, then we could go into like victim mentality. We think we're the victim, poor me. We start complaining about things, blaming others for our circumstances, and, you know, for our lot in life. So those things don't work. Either way, they don't work. So being able to balance our perceptions by seeing equally the good and bad in everything and everyone, right? So let's continue our reading from the book The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini. You get the book on drdemartini.com or Amazon or wherever, and we're on page 181. It's important that you have this book, and if this is the first live hangout you're watching with me, then make sure after you watch this that you will go back and watch number 1 and watch them all sequentially, 1 to 30 at the minute, in the channel Be Your Potential. Someone asked me the other day, they've just been watching these on the website, and said, well, where can I actually watch the previous ones? They just didn't know. I said, well, they're all on the channel, right? On the channel. Be Your Potential. So, if you have your book, read along. If you don't have your book, get your book. And very important so you can do the exercises. Disabled or mislabeled. If there is no stopping a person who is pursuing their highest values, there is no moving a person who is being asked to pursue something they do not find valuable. Lower down on the value scale is where you start having less focus, poorer memory, and hesitation or attention deficit disorder, as well as what I call attention deficit disorder and intention deficit disorder. So instead of attention deficit disorder, it's retention deficit disorder and intention deficit disorder. So there's 3 things there, right? These are the children that are labeled bad or slow, or perhaps even diagnosed with a learning disability such as ADD. But these are the adults written off as stupid, lazy, distracted, or not too bright. In my opinion, these labels are of little use and can even impede the awakening of true genius. The vast majority of children that are diagnosed with ADD have been misdiagnosed. If you follow these children throughout their day, you will almost certainly find an aspect of their lives where they are highly focused, calm, remember things, and commit themselves fully. Perhaps their area of interest is indeed computer games. Perhaps it's sports, or television, or socializing. Perhaps it's something that their surrounding adult world doesn't value. But for whatever is highest among those children's values, they will have attention surplus order, retention surplus order, and intention surplus order. These children often have extremely concentrated highest values. I've yet to meet a child who didn't have attention surplus order somewhere in some area. If you're reading this book as a young person, you know that you have an amazing capacity. Your learning capacity and your genius are not missing. They may simply be concentrated in an area that other people do not get value. Your genius may not be what everybody else expected, but you do have it. Don't ever question it. Don't ever let anybody tell you don't have this special genius, not even yourself. By the same token, the adults who are written off as slow or stupid are likewise often being mislabeled. They are people who have never figured out how to link their life's demands with their values. These may be people who have a unique genius for fixing cars, soothing children, or amusing their friends with funny stories. Or perhaps their genius lies in collecting souvenirs, stretching a paycheck to last through the month, or finding the best item on a restaurant menu. Sometimes people's genius has a wide scope, and sometimes it is confined to a narrow area. But each of us has our own unique genius, and when we learn how to link our essential daily actions to our highest values, we can then activate that hidden genius in any area we choose. Once again, the values factor is the secret. Hidden genius. I've seen so many people whose genius lay out of sight, just waiting to be discovered. Once I was filming for a reality TV show in the Hollywood area, and one of the guests was a 42-year-old man who'd been diagnosed when he was 7 years old. Much as I was, he had been told that he was a slow learner, had learning problems, was dyslexic, and probably wouldn't amount to anything. I sat with him for an hour and 45 minutes, asking him a set of questions that nobody had ever asked him. I wanted to know, in what area do you have an amazing memory? In what area do you learn things amazingly quickly? In what area do you retain information well? As you can imagine, his first response was skepticism and maybe a little sadness or even anger. I don't have an amazing memory, he told me. I can't learn things quickly. I don't retain information well. But I knew that was not the full truth. Might certainly exceed your doubt, I answered him. I am going to keep asking you these questions again and again until you discover the hidden genius, the hidden awareness that you have, which you have been denying. Like so many people, he wanted to insist on his perceived limitations, on what everyone had always told him that he couldn't do. So he resisted me for about 10 minutes, but I was relentless because I knew that if I could get him to realize the abilities that he had, his life would change. Given the TV show format, I had only about 2 hours to get this job done, but I had certainty about him and about my approach, so I persevered. Eventually I asked him, how long have you had this so-called memory problem? He said, as long as I can remember, since my early childhood. I thought that his answer was very revealing. He had an amazing memory for what he could not remember. So I just kept pursuing the questions that I knew would help him break through. Finally, as I continued to ask him in what area he had an amazing memory, he recalled a significant incident from his past. It was actually fairly ironic, because what he remembered with great vividness and completeness was what his teacher had told him he couldn't do. So in that way, he was still running his story, insisting on his limitations, and I was still not buying it. I told him, you will only remember what your teacher said if it is part of your highest values, if you're using those words to your greatest advantage. So you're not getting some kinds of secondary gains in that role. It is doing something for you. At the very least, it has gotten you out of doing certain things. He started to argue, but I just said, so in what other area do you have a great memory? Well, once he had unlocked one area of great memory, he had far less trouble unlocking a second. So he began telling me about certain sports trivia, information about teams, athletes, maneuvers. I kept at him for an hour and 45 minutes, one example after another showing that he had an extraordinary memory, until finally the tears came out of his eyes and he put through 35 years worth of programming. Because for all those years he had believed that he had a learning problem, when in fact he didn't. What he had was a highly concentrated value system that didn't match his teachers or his parents, that didn't fit their highest values, that didn't conform to society's norms. But now he was discovering his hidden genius. And as he was crying, he hugged me, seeing new possibilities for what he could now do with his life. How had this man's genius become so well hidden? He had subordinated himself to outside influences and authorities, accepting their beliefs about him instead of asking a new set of questions and unveiling the ingenious power that he had inside. So if, like him, you doubt your own genius in any way, return to exercise 1 on page 176. and find a way to link any area of learning you wish to master to your own highest values. Also ask yourself, where are you already demonstrating your great mental genius? That's how to use the values factor to make your hidden genius become visible. Okay, there, end of the reading for today. Again, powerful stuff, you know, that's what I find. It's highly concentrated. There's no fluff in this book. A lot of books have a lot of fluff, and you could actually put all the information in one chapter, but this is no fluff. This is highly concentrated information, just kind of getting it in there. And from different angles. It's really just all about the values, but it's like showing you from different angles how this is so important for each area of life and how you can apply it. And it's a whole system, I guess, a system of understanding, of operating in the world on the third dimensional plane. And it's maybe the highest level system I've come across. So that's why we're doing it, right? So thanks very much for watching again today. Make sure that you find your own hidden genius, unlock that within you. What are the things that you've been labeled as or programmed to think that you're not so good at? And find where you have a great memory or where you have great skills in certain areas. And keep asking yourself the questions until you find that for yourself, right? So thanks very much again. My name is Matthew Armstrong, and if you haven't joined our team, you can click on the link below and join our team. If you want to create a financial freedom vehicle, and that is what we've got here. Or if you want to subscribe to my list, and I will send you out lots of cool stuff, then again, enter your details below, click on that link, and let's get acquainted more. Okay, thanks for watching again. See you soon.